Yes.
Okay. Right. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Joe.
Thanks for having coffee with me today on this.
Thanks for having me. I've heard all about these coffees with. I'm excited.
Good. Right, we're going to talk about you and your new role
Perfect.
and what you're doing. So
Great.
Tell us about it.
Let's talk about me. Well, first off, I got a dual role at Mindshare, I would say. So I am now overseeing all of planning and I guess how the various planning teams come together to do brilliant planning and win awards and all that kind of thing. And I guess it's a step off of what I was doing before with our process and working better together, but applying that to planning. The other half of what I do is I remain a client lead, so I oversee teams on two of my favorite clients, 3 Mobile and Warburton. So just making sure we make sure that clients get the very best out of Mindshare, and that's probably the client lead thing and the planning thing.
Okay, so I want to talk mostly about planning today, if that's all right.
Of course.
Tell me about what you're most excited about with our planning department at the moment.
Lots of things is the truth. Probably first and foremost, building off of what happened before when we did that year of work around the AMF is probably developing that, but with more of a lens on planning. So what I think is most exciting is taking those 20 infamous boxes and really boiling it down to the 4 ingredients that really matter when you're trying to get to great work, award-winning work. So we've landed on 4 things. The first thing is business challenge and numbers and targets. The second thing is audience insights, and Amina keeps telling me truth. What is the truth behind the audience insight that really makes you feel? I like it too. What is the core idea at the heart of then the planning and the buying that you do? And we're finding that really helps in the briefings to all the different teams. And then finally the measurement and testing framework. And it sort of, I really like it because it is the 20 boxes, it is the AMF, but it's also what I'd call a kind of shorthand version of a CAN award entry, which is handy. And you take what really matters to us in an audience first company, so the audience insight and the idea, and you're sort of sandwiching that in the numbers bit and the effectiveness and measurement bit. So the numbers that matter to the client and then how we actually track that. So that's one thing, kind of like shorthand AMF. So I like that. But then I also like what we're doing structurally with the teams. So do I just carry on talking, or it's just a monologue for me at the moment? Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
I love a monologue.
I was going to ask a bit more about live planning, because I feel like within our sort of Swiss Army knife of planning, that's a real killer app in there.
So I get teased forever talking about live planning and about Gemma Wiggins, who's the live planner on 3. I think what we've done with the planning partnership, in pulling Gemma, who is a digital executional person, into what is the, not the buying team, but the core planning team, has been the biggest and best change. Sorry, I'm going to make Gemma blush, but it's such a great thing that we've done. The fact that you have a strategist, a connections planner, and a live planner, who, by the way, is upskilling all of us every day in the kind of language and the measurement. I think Gemma keeps us all on track. So we won't think of a strategy that can't be measured. We won't do a plan that can't be measured. I think she's really changed our mindset, and quite frankly, we get a lot of difficult telephone calls from clients during the course of any given day or week. And I just know that if I have the 3 of them around me, then there's nothing that we can't deal with. So I think that planning partnership within planning is super clever. But I really think the addition of a live planner to that has been fundamentally, it's been game changing.
Great. And I think, as we talked about in the company meeting earlier this week, having that analyst, that capability on every single account will be the thing that really changes what we do for every piece of business at Mindshare.
So that's a new thought that came out of the leadership team meeting that happened last week. On 3, I have the luxury of a very big team, so there's probably about 40 people at Mindshare that work on that piece of business. And part of that team, so imagine sitting outside the planning partnership at the moment, we probably have 3 or 4 analysts that are actually retained on the team. But to be honest with you, they're the core team in truth, which I think is part of the reason we're thinking of doing this with analysts moving forward. The idea is if we're increasingly asked to measure and be effective and think of performance, then I wouldn't be without the analyst guys. Those guys are heroes, because they kind of bring, this is going to sound funny and they're going to tease me, but they bring rigor into it, but they also bring a lot of bravery into it as well. And by that I mean, A lot of them have rough and ready scientific approaches that are super fast, and you know you can trust. And if you take your experience plus those numbers, then again, it's that when the phone call comes in, who do I turn to? It's the planning partnership, and yes, you're right, a handful of analysts who know who they are.
Amazing. So obviously you've spoken about a couple of people that particularly make you proud, but what makes you proud as a person to work for Mindshare?
Well, like you, I've been working at Mindshare on and off for about 600 years. And I've got a lot since the beginning of time. Yes, TV buyer, then media planner, then client lead, then all that kind of stuff. But since 1999, you're 98, right? Okay. And I got a lot of love for this agency. You know, I've also been at other agencies and compared, you know, how we work. You know, Emery was in a pitch with us the other day, and he talked about speed, provocation, and teamwork. And he did a really good job of explaining that as part of the culture. But to me, the one that I'm always most proud of is the teamwork stuff. So anytime a new person joins Mindshare, I'll always go, congratulations, you've joined an amazing agency and there's loads of people and everyone's going to be nice to you. That teamwork thing is pretty much what I think we are best at, and that's, as I said, I think in the beginning, I don't remember, but my job in client leadership and also as Chief of Planning Ops is basically about getting the best out of Mindshare, and that is all about teamwork because we're all such different people with different skill sets. And so it's that. What was the question again?
No, that's perfect. It's about what you're most proud of, and I couldn't agree more. It's the people, it's the team, and it's how they come together.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you. Your plate there with that dual role that you've described, and you're now also working 4 days a week rather than 5. So I would like to know more about what that means to you, why it was important, and how that's going.
So the 4 day a week and in general flexibility at Mindshare means absolutely everything, right? So you asked me earlier on what I'm proud of, and I talked about teamwork, but flexibility we didn't touch on until now. I'm a parent, so I'm used to juggling things, and it's so actually the intensity of work I'm used to. It's just taking it up a notch and learning how to deal with that. And it's about knowing that I'm going to make it work, basically. And I think you said to me that the first Friday you'll be working, and that's true. The second Friday a little bit less, the third Friday, and so on and so on. And so every Friday I have is more about what I'm trying to do in terms of the work-life balance than about work. But yeah, I've got another kid on the way. I love my son to bits. Those Fridays are worth absolutely everything to me and to the family.
Good.
Yeah. So it's a great thing.
Great. I'm glad you're doing it. Thank you, Alan.
Oh, that's it. Great. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.